Jaya Girivar Dari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय राधा माधव की जय नृसिंह भगवान की जय पंच तत्व की जय षड गोस्वामी की जय गुरु परंपरा की जय शील प्रभुपाद की जय श्री गुरुदेव टैगोर ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God Narayana, unto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So Hare Krishna, Prabhu's Mata is. So today we will be discussing from 4th canto, 13th chapter, verse number 34 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So let us first recite the verse, and then we will go to the class and try to learn whatever lessons we can. So 4:13, 34. तांस्तान् कामान् हरिर्दद्यात् यान् यान् कामयते जनः आराधितो यथैवैष तथा पुंसां फलोदयः तांस्तान् कामान् हरिर्दद्यात् यान् यान् कामयते जनः आराधितो यथैवैष तथा पुंसां फलोदयः तांस्तान् कामान् हरिर्दद्यात् यान् यान् कामयते जनः आराधितो यथैवैष तथा पुंसां फलोदयः. One Prabhuji and one Mataji can recite.
May I, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
तांस्तान् कामान् हरिर्दद्यात् यान् यान् कामयते जनः आराधितो यथैवैष तथा पुंसां फलोदयः. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Any Prabhuji you want to recite?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hello. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Oh, you want to say? Okay, man, go ahead. Go ahead.
तांस्तान् कामान् हरिर्दध्यात् यन् कामयते जनः आराधितो यथैवैष्य तथा पुंसां फलोदयः. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you. Synonymous word to word meaning. Tan, those. Kaman, desired objects. Harihi, the Lord. Dadyat, will award. Yan, whatsoever. Kamayate, desires. Janaha, the person. Araditaha, being worshipped. Yatha, as. Eva, certainly. Yeshaha, the Lord. Tatha, similarly. Pumsam, of men. Phala Udayaha, the result. Translation and by purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please hear the translation and purport. The performer of the sacrifices under karma kanda activities achieves the fulfillment of the desire for which he worships the Lord. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he awards benedictions to the worshipper according to his desire. The Supreme Personality of Godhead gives all living entities conditioned within this material world full freedom to act in their own way. But to his devotee, he says that instead of working in that way, it is better to surrender unto him, for he will take charge of the devotee. That is the difference between a devotee and a fruitive actor. The fruitive actor enjoys only the fruits of his own activities, but a devotee, being under the guidance of the Supreme Lord, simply advances in devotional service to achieve the ultimate goal of life, to go back home, back to Godhead. The significant word in this verse is kaman, which means sense gratificatory desires. A devotee is devoid of all kaman. He is anyabhilashata shunya. A devotee is always devoid of all desires for sense gratification. His only aim is to satisfy or gratify the senses of the Lord. That is the difference between a karmi and a devotee. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Gyantamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sabadatikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunathamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shiv Vishaka Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyscha Kripa Sindhu Vayevacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yonta Pravishya Mamavacha Mimam Prasuptam, Sanjeevayati Kilashakti Dharaswadhamna, Anyam Chahasta Charana Shravanatagadin, Prananamo Bhagavate, Purushaya Tubhyam. Mokam Karoti Vachanam Pangamanagiyatigre. Namo Vishnu Krishna Krishna Bhutale Shrimati Mahavishnu Swami Namane. Namo Vishnu Krishna Krishna Bhutale Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane. Guru Shishwanya Bhashta Visani. Jai Krishna Gita Nagari Nityananda Shri Advaita Namane. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram. So Hare Krishna Pravis Mataji, thank you very much for joining this Srimad Bhagavatam session and for keeping the appointment with Krishna today. So today is 18th of June 2025. So we'll be discussing from 4th canto 13th chapter verse number 34. This chapter is entitled Description of the Descendants of Guru Maharaj. So we saw in the purport, right, the difference between a devotee and a fruitive actor, right? So purpose speaking about a fruitive actor who is basically sense gratification desires, whereas a devotee is only aimed to satisfy or gratify senses of the Lord. There is a difference between a karmi and a devotee. See, pride. That is, everybody is proud of whatever they achieve, right? Naturally, it is there, but we should offer it to Krishna. So let us see the difference. See, pride always shows us in the end our true worth. See, we might be thinking, I am this, I am that, right? Ultimately, it is always the same thing. That we are proud of something or about the wealth or whatever it is. And that itself will be the, that pride, will be the cause of our downfall. See, there is a very interesting story. See, once there was a very intelligent man, okay, and he was very proud of his learning. He thought that there is no one in that village who can defeat him. So he once met a very simple and illiterate person and wanted to boast to him about his intelligence. So he told the illiterate person, you can ask me any question. And if I don't answer, I will give you 10 rupees for every question. That is, he said, see, you can ask me any question. You're asking the illiterate person. And if I don't answer that, I will give you 10 rupees for every question that I cannot answer. And then he said, then I will ask you questions, okay? Then for every question which you may not be able to answer, you can give me only 1 rupee. That is enough. So there was a deal. Now, the illiterate person, he accepted the challenge very half-heartedly because thinking, why is unnecessarily wasting my time? So to start with, the intelligent man, he told that person, illiterate person, you start first. You ask the question. So that person asked a question. The illiterate person, he was asking a question. He asked him, you tell me an animal with 7 eyes, 6 noses, and 3 mouths. It's a riddle, right? Now the intelligent man was baffled. He had never seen an animal with such a description. So he thought for a long time, searching, Google search, everything, right? But he could not really get the answer. So finally, he accepted defeat and gave 10 rupees to that illiterate person. Then out of curiosity, he asked the person, okay, I accepted defeat. Now, please tell me, what is that animal with such a strange feature? So he answered, I also don't know. And he gave him back 1 rupee. So that was a deal, right? And he walked away with 9 rupees, which he had gained without any effort from the so-called intelligent man. So the intelligent man's pride was shattered. See, a similar situation we come across in the Shastras also. Hiranyakashipu, very extremely powerful, right? And he attained all his powers by his intense austerity for so many years. And he proclaimed that there is no one in the entire world who is equal in power to him. In spite of all the powers Hiranyakashipu attained by his personal endeavors, he was ultimately killed by Lord Nrsimhadev. Just like a wasp is killed with the tip of the nails. Whereas, Prahlad Maharaj, he was only 5 years old boy. He did not do any austerities to see the Lord. But Prabhupada says the purport, right? Simply by performing a little devotional service, according to the instructions of Narada Muni, Prahlad Maharaj became so dear to Lord The Lord personally came to save him. Whereas Hiranyakashipu, in spite of all his austerities, he was killed. This is the difference between devotional service and all other methods of perfection. Prabhupada also says that the reason of Hiranyakashipu's annihilation, in spite of all his severe austerities, was that whatever he did, no, was ultimately for his own sense gratification. See, the reason why devotees, though very less equipped with material qualities, always succeed because the Lord gives them direct intelligence. And this they achieve by their unmotivated, undeviated devotion to the Lord. In the love is service unto the Lord, right? Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvaka. So to reciprocate their love, Krishna gives them the intelligence by which they can conquer all the difficulties and attain eternal service unto him. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mama upayanti. See, in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes the transcendental signs of devotional service. In the first verse, Arjuna asks Krishna, how devotional service is compared to impersonal meditation? Evam satata yukta ye bhakta swam paryupasate ye chapyaksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga vittamaha. Which are considered to be more perfect? Those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? So in the purport, Prabhupada gives 3 points. One, there are two classes of transcendentalists: personalists, and impersonalists. Two, devotional service is a direct way of associating with Krishna, and impersonalism is indirect. And third, impersonalism meditation is difficult because one cannot perfectly conceive of the impersonal feature of the absolute truth. And devotional service is the easiest means of association with Krishna. So what happens now after taking a beating in the middle world for many, many lifetimes? The conditioned soul gets to the point of saying, enough is enough. Then he looks for a way out of the misery. And the two roads promise relief from the cycle of birth and death, that is the impersonalism and devotional service. So two important differences between these two paths is very nicely explained by Prabhupada, right? See, in verse 10.8, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the source of everything. Aham sarvasya prabha. This means that the Brahma Jyoti, which is the goal of the impersonalists, is one of Krishna's personal features, namely his bodily effulgence. So it is understood that the impersonalists who are trying to situate themselves in that effulgence are indirectly in association with the Supreme Lord. However, because the impersonal existence requires one to completely negate the demands of the middle senses, this state is very difficult to attain. That's why in purport of 2.62 verse, Prabhupada explains that due to his artificial repression of the senses, even a slight thought of sense pleasure will agitate an impersonalist to gratify his desires. You may think that from today I will not eat this, I will not take that, and all. But in the mind, it is, see, for example, doctor says, when you're ill, when you're diseased, you say you're not supposed to eat or drink these things, right? So for that period, because you have to get cured, you'll do that. But in the mind, it is still there. The moment you're cured, again, you go back. So repression is not the solution. So the personalists know, however, the situation is different. Because Krishna personally takes charge, he attains the steadiness in this loving service. That's why 9.22 Krishna gives, states, Ananya chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityaviyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. But those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. So Prabhupada says the Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga. And when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to the miserable condition of life. See, not only does Krishna protect the devotees from material fall down, the devotee is also protected by all other devotees. So devotee's path out of material existence is made very easy. Prabhupada always used to end his letters to his disciples, your ever well-wisher. And how much he endeavored to advance and protect their Krishna consciousness, right? So Prabhupada gave all facilities for everyone to quickly reawaken their dormant love for Krishna. So we are eternally indebted to Srila Prabhupada. The only thing Prabhupada requests in return is that we somehow or the other sincerely follow the path of Bhakti Yoga, especially by hearing, studying, and chanting Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad. So let us all do to this to the best of our ability, right? Krishna says in 2.60 Bhagavad Gita, Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramadhini haranti prasabham manaha. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. That much difficult. So it is very difficult to control the mind and senses without being fully Krishna conscious. So without engaging the mind in Krishna, one cannot cease material engagements. We cannot stop. So when we take a look at the life of the Goswamis, right from the day when they were serving for the Muslim Nawabs, they were very diligently performing their duties in spite of their intense hankering to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and surrender their lives fully for him. They were extremely eager and anxious to serve the Lord. And they sent so many letters expressing their desire to Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu replied them by quoting a verse from the scriptures. He said, if a woman is involved with a man other than her husband, she may try to be especially diligent in her household duties. Sincerely, she might be doing, but her mind is always. So, in this way, she seeks to avoid detection. So, within her heart, however, she is always longing to be reunited with her paramour. So, the Goswamis understood what the Lord meant and rendered their worldly duties with greater attention. At the same time, continued their sadhana sincerely. So, pleased by the way they were engaging their minds, in devotional service, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made all the necessary arrangements for them to give up their material engagements in due course. So, to apply this point in the current context, we should start from leading a regulated life. Okay, be it school, be it college, job, family. See, to pass in our exams in our school and college, it is necessary to wake up early and complete the day's assignment promptly. Correct? So, this will facilitate for? It will reduce the unnecessary tension, and also it will let us do a quality work of the assignments. Right? Procrastination is a thief of time. Procrastination means kal karega, tomorrow, not doing now. So it's a thief of time. So we should practice this habit in our work as well as by doing our work diligently. Smart people are welcome everywhere. So, and as devotees, we need to follow the perfect examples of Goswamis, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada. That's why in purport of verse 1517, Prabhupada explains the difference between regulated and unregulated life. Those who are engaged simply in sense gratifications without knowledge of the next life or spiritual salvation, they belong to the non-regulated section. And those who follow the principles of prescribed duties in the scriptures, they are classified among the regulated section. So the non-regulated section, both civilized and non-civilized, educated and non-educated, strong and weak, they're all full of animal propensities because they're not regulated. So their activities are never auspicious because enjoying the animal propensities of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, they perpetually remain in mental existence, which is always miserable. On the other hand, those who are regulated by the scriptural injunctions and thus gradually rise to Krishna consciousness, they certainly progress in life. See, in the purport of 7 to 6 in Bhagavatam, while explaining the impartial nature of the Lord, Prabhupada gives a very nice explanation of how demons differ from demigods or devotees. He says, Nonetheless, since the devotees always strictly follow the Supreme Lord's orders, because of sincerity, they are victorious over the demons. Demons who know that the Supreme Lord Vishnu but do not follow his instructions, they easily say, oh yes, oh, I accept Krishna is God. Oh, yes, I accept Krishna is God. We should know that whether we accept or not, Krishna is always God. But the real question is, are we following his instructions? Krishna's instructions are primarily given to us through the revealed scriptures, especially Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And he's represented he's in front of us in the form of spiritual master and the various acharyas in our sampradaya. That's why in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, while delineating the difference between devotees and demons, Krishna very emphatically concludes in 6.23 and 24. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection, nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. If we really think about it, right, due to some pious acts in the previous birth, we are all blessed with the gift of devotional service in this birth. See, there are so many souls in this world who are deprived of this gift. They are not following the Lord's instructions. See, even after knowing the supremacy of the Lord and his instructions, if we fail to follow them, then we can understand that we are not devotees, but are demons. See, the process of Bhakti Yoga is simple and very sublime. Bhakti Yoga primarily includes 1. Wake up early in the morning. 2. Perform Mangalarati. 3. Chanting Mahamantra lovingly. 4. Worshipping the deities, rendering service to them in a humble mood. 5. Recitation of scriptures, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. 6. Performing the prescribed duties very carefully. See, all of these need to be strictly followed. But we are so conditioned that even if we follow only a few of the above of these things, right, in a very irregular manner, we falsely think that we are great devotees. But Srila Prabhupada has clarified us that devotees always strictly follow the Supreme Lord's orders sincerely. Devotees always strictly follow the Supreme Lord's orders sincerely. So when we fail to follow them, we are no less than demons. That's what Prabhupada says. See, there are different miserable conditions faced by living entities in various species of life. Only when a human body is attained, right, the living entity can ask, look, how can I get rid of my sufferings? Because he's provided with a special intelligence in the human form. So the various sufferings are results of sinful activities in our previous lives and also in this life. So the Vedas are, which are more merciful than thousands of mothers and fathers, both temporary and permanent, no? They have given solution to these sufferings in various ways. See, one of the limbs of Veda is called Jyotish Shastra, astrology, right? And it talks about how to predict the future events in the life of a human being in great details, right? It also prescribes some counteractions, parihara, in the form of Vedic rituals, worship of devatas, worship of Supreme Lord, chanting mantras, etc., etc. By doing this, one can minimize the suffering or get the mental strength to withstand the suffering. However, there is no parihara in astrology for death. There is no contraction for death. And it's an inevitable event for anyone who has taken birth. That's why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Jatas hi dhror mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya tasmat tvam apariharyarte natvam shochitum arhasi. One who has taken his birth is sure to die. And after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So the word apariharya means unavoidable, either by our worldly efforts or by following the scriptures. See, many astrologers, cannot even predict death correctly. Even if it is predicted correctly, one cannot avoid it. So there is a nice story. Many years ago, a famous king by the name Vikramaditya, he lived, right? So a baby boy was born to him, and the king was very happy. So he invited a very famous astrologer by the name Mihira and requested him to write the horoscope for the child. Now Mihira agreed very happily and wrote the horoscope and said, "Oh king, whenever some parihara has to be done for the child, I will let you know and you can do it." Now let's not see the horoscope very deeply. But the king said, "No, I want the complete life prediction of my son. And since I am the king, you should obey and predict everything." So then Mihira predicted the details and said, "Your son will die at the age of 10 at such and such a date and time, and his death will be caused by a wild boar." The king became very angry and said, "I will prevent it with my power and army. If your prediction is not true, I will cut off your head." So Mihira said, "All right, if my prediction is true, then you give your kingdom to me." The king agreed. So when the predicted time of death was nearing, the king put his son in a room on the top of a building where no animals can access, because he told wild boar, right? And put tight security around the building. And when the predicted time of death passed, soldiers came and informed the king that the son died exactly at that time. The king was shocked and asked how it happened. The soldier said, "When your son was playing with a ball and reached the door of his room, the wild boar made of metal, which was the emblem of Vikramaditya, fell from the top of the door and crashed the boy's head." The king cried heavily out of grief. And as promised, he gave the kingdom to Mihira. So Mihira, he gave back the kingdom and said, "Getting your kingdom is not my aim. I just wanted you to understand that death is inevitable." So the king asked, if you would have said that the death will be due to a wild boar made of metal, then I would have avoided that." So Mihira replied, "That is the difference between an astrologer and a god. So only the Lord knows about the complete details about death." So after this incident, the astrologer came to be known as Varaha Mihira, Varaha wild boar, right? And he wrote wonderful books on astrology, great friend. So though we see that death is inevitable, the scriptures tell us how we can avoid repetition of birth and death. That is by becoming devotee of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So when a person becomes pure devotee of the Lord, the fear of birth, death, old age, and disease ceases for him, and he can proceed to the spiritual world. So this is confirmed in Mahabharata, where it says, "Na Vasudeva Bhaktanam Ashubham Vidyate Kvachit Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Bhayam Naivopajayate." The devotees of Vasudeva are freed from inauspiciousness, namely fear of birth, death, old age, and disease. See, in the episode of the fight between Indra and Vritasura, in Bhagavatam, beautifully it is given. For the first time, the demons, encouraged by the presence of Vritasura on their side, they inflicted heavy defeat upon the Devatas and drove them away from the battlefield. Now, Indra and the other demigods, they were in great anxiety because they had lost the possession of heavenly planets to the demons. So at this point, they had no shelter other than to go to the Lord, Supreme Lord, right? Who is eternally lying down in the causal ocean. So the demigods arrived near the bank of the causal ocean and they rendered their prayers filled with complete knowledge unto the Supreme Lord Vishnu. See, even though their prayers were filled with highly transcendental knowledge, still the aim of their prayer was not pure. See, with all their high knowledge of the Supreme Absolute Truth, okay, they were only praying to the Lord to help them get back their heavenly planets. Understood? We also do the same many times, right, with the Lord. We think that we know better than Krishna. What is beneficial for us? So we go to him and ask him, "Please give me this, please give me that." That's what the demigods did. Though It is not completely wrong to ask the Lord for something. Still, as Lord Vishnu himself replies to the demigods in 6:948, he says, it is best to ask for an opportunity to render devotional service. Kim durapam mai prite tatapi vibudarshabaha mai ekanta matir nanyan matto vanchati tattvavit. O best of the intelligent demigods, see, Vishnu, not Vishnu is telling, O best of the intelligent demigods, although it is true that nothing is difficult for one to obtain when I am pleased with him, a pure devotee whose mind is exclusively fixed upon me does not ask me for anything but the opportunity to engage in devotional service. So the purport Prabhupada makes a very sublime point. The Lord wanted the demigods to pray for unalloyed devotional service, but instead they prayed for an opportunity to kill their enemy. So this is the difference between a pure devotee and a devotee on the material platform. Indirectly, the Lord regretted that the demigods did not ask for pure devotional service. So throughout this episode, Indra got so many opportunities to render direct devotional service to the Lord. But the desire to get back his possession of heavenly planet covered his eyes. We wanted that more, right? In fact, who will get the opportunity to get the direct audience of the Lord in his abode? So the demigods got it, but did not use it properly. So to this effect, Srila Prabhupada makes the statement, the Lord himself was unhappy that the demigods did not ask for pure bhakti. On the other hand, Vritasura, who was facing death in the battlefield, where he fought fiercely with Indra, prays with real intelligence and a realization. It's a beautiful prayer. Aham hareta vapadeikamola dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah manasmaretasu pater gunamste granita vakarma karotu kaya. Oh my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, will I again be able to be a servant of your eternal servants who find shelter only at your lotus feet? O Lord of my life, may I again become their servant so that my mind may always think of your transcendental attributes, my words always glorify those attributes, and my body always engage in the loving service of your Lordship. We can clearly see that while Indra was praying to gain back his lordship over the heavenly planets, Vritarasura was begging for eternal service unto the Lord through the service of his servants, Dasanudas. In the end, both of them got what they wanted. The Lord was more pleased with Vritarasura than Indra. And because of this, Vritarasura succeeded in achieving the ultimate goal of his life. So we should all try to follow the example of Vritarasura in being fully focused on the service of the Lord and not be distracted by the temporary material possessions. You see, the show business, show business can go on for only 3 hours, not for years. We are showing as devotees, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So this show business can only for 3 hours. All of us should have entire Bhagavad Gita in our throats. Otherwise, we are wasting our valuable time. See, once we complete our stipulated rounds, we should start churning our brain to retain this Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, which is personified by sound, unseen by eyes, and non-different from Krishna himself. So please don't miss the direct contact with Lord Krishna by chanting, by reciting shlokas with translations, which is also as absolute like having darshan. Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right, or Gayatri Mantra is a direct appointment with Krishna. This chanting to be done peacefully and sincerely. Not simply mumbling our sound of mantra is not good. It should be very clear. See, why we are doing chanting, only chanting, because it is easiest. Chanting alone is not enough. My Guru used to say, chanting alone is not enough. The intelligence and mind needs to be engaged in vibration and remembrance of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, it will become more and more rotten. Chanting is good, but that is not only not enough. We have to churn our minds. See, already we are rotten on account of material modes. So this will aggravate our already rotten condition. So this engagement of vibrating the transcendental vibration will make the mind and intelligence fully occupied. And therefore, it provides a good scope for mental equilibrium. Suppose if you have an appointment with doctor or whoever for urgent disease or business, how much careful and sincere are you in the appointment? Correct? In the same way, the transcendental vibrations are in direct appointment with Krishna. So don't miss this appointment. If you miss, then you'll glide down to the lower species of life. And it becomes very difficult to come back to this human form of life. So you have to come to the sanity with Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, we'll become insane. Already we are in an atmosphere which is surcharged with insanity. Correct? And verse Bhagavatam 7:4-25. Ma bhaishya vibhuda shreshtaha sarvesham bhadramastu maddarshanam hi bhutanam sarvashreyopapattaye jnatam etasya dauratmyam Daiteyapasadasyatayat tasya shantim karishyami kalam tavat pratikshata. Very beautiful verse. 7:4-25 and 26. See, the voice of the Lord vibrated as follows. O best of the learned persons, do not fear. I wish all good fortune to you. Become my devotees by hearing and chanting about me and offering me prayers. For these are certainly meant to award benedictions to all living entities. I know all about the activities of Hiranyakashipu and shall surely stop them very soon. Please wait patiently until that time. Kalam tavat pratikshita. He said, you are praying everything, but please wait. Please wait patiently until that time. That's what Krishna says. So Prabhupada writes the purport. The vibration of the Lord's voice appeared in the presence of all the devotees. And although the person vibrating sound was unseen to them, they were meeting or seeing the Lord because they were offering prayers. And because the vibration of the Lord was present. See, contrary to the laws of the middle world, there is no difference between seeing the Lord, offering prayers, and hearing the transcendental vibration. That's what Prabhupada very beautifully says. See, my Guru Maharaj used to emphasize the word Mad Darshanam in this verse, no? Where Lord Krishna says, seeing me, or offering prayers to me, or hearing about me, all of which are absolute. So chanting and hearing are the direct appointment with Krishna. So how can we miss this very important appointment? In spite of knowing these things for so many years, we do not want to take this appointment very seriously. Who is preventing us from taking this appointment? Srila Prabhupada's transcendental purpose is very clear in front of us. In one, it's the same as like 1625, no? Bhagavatam. This is how we should churn our intelligence to take out from Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Every word of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam gives ocean of knowledge. And every word has to be meditated upon. So when are we going to do it? My Maharaj used to say, when are we going to do it? Why are we procrastinating it? He said, don't be a Dirgha Sutri. Lord Krishna runs away from a Dirgha Sutri as it is sign of mode of ignorance. Means procrastination, kal karenge, just waiting, right? See, we should not differentiate between Krishna's name, qualities, and his descriptions in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. See, the moment we think that Krishna is different from his name, activities, and glorification, we will be in anxiety. See, when we read Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or chant the holy names, the vibration we hear is not different from Krishna. No difference. So don't be morose or discouraged. And only when our minds are purified by this vibration, we can go to his lotus feet. Only then we can go. So the attachment to this vibration will come only when we understand that all this material manifestation is temporary and completely like a dream. See, yes, in the morning we heard a class, right? We all know. Now all that is a dream now. We all met in the past. Now also, all that is like a dream. When you die, everything will be here. Your flat, your job, your vehicle, but you will go. So when this idea sinks into our mind, then we will come to the reality of appreciating Krishna's names and descriptions. See, we fail to comprehend the idea that Krishna is not different from his name, form, and descriptions. That's why we think that reading Bhagavad Gita is one thing and seeing Krishna is another thing. No. It's confirmed in Kathopanishad. There is no difference whatsoever in the Supreme Lord between his name, form, qualities, and activities. One who sees difference goes from death to death. That is, does not attain the release from this middle world. So the nature of God is absolute. And by his grace, see, it is the grace of Krishna that he has invested his complete power in his name and descriptions in the Vedic literature. And by associating with Krishna through these, we can feel his presence. And also, Krishna sends his bona fide representative in the form of spiritual master and also other devotees to spread his name and glories. So, the various processes mentioned in the Vedic literature, such as Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, meditation, very stringent rules and regulations, right? But the process of glorifying the Lord by chanting his names and prayers from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam are free from such restrictions because Supreme Lord is all pervading, no matter wherever we are. When we chant Krishna's glories, we become connected to him immediately because he and his glories are identical. Also in the Vedas, many sacrifices, such as Vajapaya, Ashwamedha, Yajnas, are prescribed. So when a person learns all the yajnas and fails to perform them, he knows, but he fails to perform, he will incur sinful reaction because he's not doing any yajnas in spite of knowing them. So reading and following are different in that case. However, in the case of Srimad Bhagavatam Bhagavad Gita, if he recites the verses and even if he is unable to follow all the rules mentioned in them, he will still get the spiritual merits because reciting Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and hearing them itself is a form of devotional service, namely Shravanam and Kirtanam. So Prabhupada has nicely summarized everything and given us a proper conclusion of scriptures. My Guru Maharaj used to say in one of his classes, he said, when I was living in London, I used to go to a Vedic shop, bookshop, buy books regularly, read them to understand about spiritual life. Even after reading so many books, I could not come to a conclusion of what the Vedic literatures say. And he said, however, after coming in touch with Prabhupada's books, it was easy to understand that devotional service is the conclusion. Even if a person reads a small book of Srila Prabhupada, one can derive this conclusion very easily. See, I came across an interesting story in relation with God realization. A king had a very intelligent minister who would answer all types of questions. So king once asked his minister, if God exists and if God is present everywhere, why we are not able to see him? Can you practically prove this point? We also have the same questions, right? So minister was very knowledgeable in all branches of knowledge except spiritual science. So he could not answer this question. So he asked for 1 week's time and tried to find out the answer himself, and he failed. Now the servant of that minister, who was a very sincere devotee of the Lord, he noticed that his master was worried, and he asked him what happened. So the minister explained everything, and the servant told him, "Don't worry, master, I will answer the king tomorrow." So next day, the servant went to the palace in royal robes, and the king asked the same question. Immediately, the servant asked for a vessel full of milk. So when the milk arrived, the servant asked the king, "Can you show me the butter which is present in this milk?" King was unable to answer. The servant asked, "Okay, at least can you show me where is the butter in this pot of milk?" The king could not answer. So the servant said, "Actually, butter is present everywhere in the milk, but we cannot see it with our naked eyes because it is present in a very subtle form. To extract it, the milk has to be boiled, curdled, that is adding curd to the boiled milk, and churned. Boiled, curdled, and churned. In the same way, God is present in every atom of the creation. But to see Him, we need to qualify ourselves by hearing about Him boiling the milk, associating with devotees who can transform our lives, curdling the milk to transform into curd, and constant remembrance of Him, that is by chanting His holy names and glories, churning our consciousness. So when we are purified by these processes, we can see Him by His grace. The king was wonderstruck, very happy to hear this practical explanation. See, this point is very nicely explained in the Vedic language as in this Svetaswara Upanishad, where it says, as butter is present in milk, completely pervading it, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is attained by spiritual knowledge and devotional service, is present everywhere. He is all pervading. So this Supreme Personality of Godhead is the supreme truth declared by the Upanishad. This is the supreme truth declared by the Upanishad, right? So that is why in the Bhagavata Purana, we find many verses stressing on seeing God through our ears first. So when we are thoroughly purified by this process of hearing and chanting, we can see the Lord who is pleased with our devotional service. This is confirmed by Lord Brahma in his prayers 3, 9, 11. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrit saroja ase shute kshitapato nanunata pumsam yadyadhiyata urugaya vibhavayanti tattad vapu pranayase sadanugrahaya. Oh my Lord, your devotees can see you through the ears. That is Shutekshita, the process of bona fide hearing. And thus their hearts become cleansed. And you take your seat there. You're so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they are always think of you. So this is a very beautiful point, right? There's another illustration by the minister servant to demonstrate this process of God realization. Now the servant asked the king to arrange for 2 pieces of firewood called arani stick. So he asked the king, can you please show me the fire inside the firewood? He was unable to answer. So servant then arranged for the 2 pieces to be placed one over the other and started churning them. See, in the Vedic times, for sacrifice, fire was created by this method, chanting Vedic mantras. So this method is called hand drill method. Right? So after a few minutes of churning, the fire manifested from the pieces of wood, or the firewood. Right? So servant then asked the king, "Oh king, the fire is already present inside the firewood, but not visible. So when it is churned, the fire manifested due to friction. In the same way, Supreme God is present everywhere. We need to churn our consciousness by the process of devotion service, and He will manifest in our hearts. For this, you need the guidance of a spiritual master. Just as we need a person to teach or demonstrate us how to extract butter from milk and fire from firewood. So the story is, so the king was very much impressed by these explanations of the minister, right? Minister's servant, and amply rewarded him. The minister felt ashamed for ignoring the transcendental knowledge so far, right? So he and the king then seriously adopted the process of devotional service, inspired by the minister's servant, and they attained perfection in their lives. So Srimad Bhagavatam, being the distilled essence of the Vedas, contains these above examples. And Prabhupada, in his unparalleled commentary above, explains how one can perceive the Supreme Lord. He says the Lord as super soul pervades all things, just as fire permeates wood. And so he appears to be of many varieties, though he is the absolute one without a second. Prabhupada comments that Lord Vasudev, Supreme Personality of Godhead, by one of his plenary parts, expands himself all over the middle world. And his existence can be perceived even within the atomic energy. See, matter, antimatter, proton, neutron, etc. are all different effects of the Paramatma feature of the Lord. As from wood, fire can be manifested, or as butter can be churned out of milk, so also the presence of the Lord as Paramatma can be felt by the process of legitimate hearing and chanting of the transcendental subjects, which are especially treated in the Vedic literatures like Upanishads and Vedanta. Prabhupada says Srimad Bhagavatam is a bona fide explanation of these Vedic literatures. The Lord can be realized through the oral reception of the transcendental message. And that is the only way to experience the transcendental subject. As fire is kindled from wood by another fire, the divine consciousness of man can similarly be kindled by another divine grace. So his divine grace, the spiritual master, can kindle the spiritual fire from the wood-like living entity by imparting proper spiritual messages injected through the receptive ear. Beautiful language Prabhupada uses. Therefore, one is required to approach the proper spiritual master with receptive ears. And thus, the divine existence is gradually realized. The difference between animality and humanity lies in this process only. A human being can hear properly, whereas an animal cannot. So it is a unique contribution of Srila Prabhupada and on the Acharyas that he has brought people from different social and cultural backgrounds of the world, right, into one family of devotees by the process of chanting and hearing the glories of Supreme Personality Godhead. Virendra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gautam Hari Bol, Vancha Kalpataru Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha, Patitanam Pavani Vishnu. Thank you very much, Mataris, for this opportunity to glorify the Lord, purify ourselves. If you have any questions or any point which you felt was very useful for you to put into daily practice, please share. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, it was a so wonderful class today. There are so many points to take. Like I can remember many, but few to say that don't ask for anything from God. Ask only for one thing, that I keep me engaged in your service. This is very important. We just ask you, this should happen, but we ask for material things, but we do not know why God has not given. Maybe that is much better for us if we do not have that, because we have not seen the future, what is good for me or what is not. Another, when we chant or serve Lord, that is the direct appointment with Krishna. We are searching for God. Why? But when He is so easily available, He is coming so easily to meet us. Simply we can engage ourselves in chanting Prabhuji. Many other points are there. I would like to hear this class again, Prabhuji. Please do share the recording. Thank you so much for giving so many good lessons today, Prabhuji.
Gurudev
Thank
Ki
you,
Jai.
Prabhuji.
Thank
Hare
you. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
I think
Hare Krishna.
the best of the point that you, I'm sure
Krishna.
everything is the best, but then if we churn it around and see, many times we have this question, can you show me God? If he's present here, why is he not seen? So I think the example of the milk containing butter and the firewood having the fire, I think these are two very important things for preachers who can really, talk to people about it and preach. So that's something that really touched me apart from the other points. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Gurudev. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
And Prabhuji, apart from all these, never be very proud of your intelligence. There, even an illiterate can be more intelligent and will have many things to better to share, like how the servant could tell us that milk, how butter is all pervading, God is all pervading. So let us not be proud. We have to be humble and learn to be, accept from everybody and
True.
accept that God is everywhere and try to communicate with him in your own way.
Absolutely. Very nice, Bobby. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, like whatever the past has gone, it's a dream, and whatever is present going on also is a dream. What you said in the class. So to acknowledge that, it's very, very difficult, Prabhuji. How to understand this? Can you please? Because I understand it's a dream with the past, but the present, what is going also is a dream. Because as you said, we don't carry anything with us. But yes, still we don't actually. I don't acknowledge, because if we understand this, we'll be very serious. This, yes, what we should be. The anxiety won't be there then much. So can you little bit highlight more on this? If you can, please? Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, now your question is also a dream now. So you just asked, it is gone now, right? So this, see, the dream, see, whatever, that's why we are always either in the past or worried about the future. These are all two things. We are never in the present. That's the problem. Past, so many anxious things, so many things are there. We are always thinking of that and getting morose in it. And also we're worried about the future. We're never happy. Our main purpose of is to find happiness and peace. That's what we want, right? But you're not having that. Every moment we are having difficulty because our mind is always thinking of the past or what will happen to the future. So that means the past is always definitely is a dream. Dream doesn't mean if when you're sleeping, we are awake also we are in dream. Sleeping one dream is there. When we are awake also we are in dream. I will do this, I will do that. So actually the dream, we have to get out of that dream. That's why we are sleeping. See, suppose if we chant and then sleep, and then in the morning when you get up, you will also chant Hare Krishna Mantra. That means the whole sleep the chanting is counted. But what happens? We are not convinced of the chanting and all. So that's why we are sleeping. And that is real only sleep. There is no transcendental vibration there. So in that sleep, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming and telling, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago. Get up, O sleeping souls, get up, O sleeping souls. Take this mantra, Maha Mantra. So we are completely sleeping. And then in the normal sleep, we have so many dreams, which is not true at all. But that's why we are worried. So main point is we have to take the higher taste. And the higher taste is nothing but chanting, churn our mind. That's what we saw that examples of this butter in the milk and all. Show me God, right? all this unnecessary, we are worried. God is very much with us. When we chant, He is there. When we open the book, Srila Prabhupada is right in front, Krishna is there. So don't worry, we don't have to be worried about even dreams also. Why should we be worried? First of all, it's a dream. See, if everything belongs to us, it should come accompanying us, right? If suppose the money, or see about if I maybe built a very nice bungalow, right? It is now you say it is mine. It is in my name, is there. Everything is there, it's mine. If it is yours, when you come from the program, that should also accompany you, right? It doesn't accompany you. It's not yours. Ishavasyam sarvam. Everything belongs to Krishna. We are utilizing Krishna's instrument ingredients to make that. And we think we are the ones who are doing it. It's all a dream. Nothing, everything belongs to Krishna. So we should completely surrender. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharmam paritej. Just surrender unto me. I will take care of everything. So yeah, see, whenever you have any difficulties, no, we feel so many things in our minds, right? We feel really stressful. Offer it to Krishna. Whatever that thing you have in your mind, which is not happening, you have very difficult things, situation in your mind. How to solve it? Whom to approach and everything. Write it down. Sit in front of Krishna and read it out. You can see the difference. Krishna will take care. And recite this 2.7 Bhagavad Gita. Karpanya dosho pahatas swabhavah pachami tvam dharma sammula chetaha yashreyasya nishchitam ruhitan me shishyastam shadimam tvam prapannam. Arjuna is telling, no, after all the discussions and arguments and deliberations, Krishna, from today you are my guru, I am your disciple. I am completely, I don't know, confused, bewildered. I don't know what to do. So please tell me what is good for me, what is beneficial for me. So he just surrenders unto him. And then Krishna, then from there he starts speaking Bhagavad Gita, and he understood and he was victorious. So this, whatever you sit down, speak in front of Krishna, recite this prayer. Krishna will facilitate. Somewhere or other, you will get the answers. Definitely, it's guaranteed. Hare Krishna. Hope I is useful, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Very clear. Hare Krishna. Dandapanam.
Hare
Jai.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Anybody else? Anything to share? Or any questions? Okay, thank
Hare
you,
Krishna,
Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Unless I think so, we reach a stage of Shuddha Sattva. We are always in some, some amount of bewilderment is always there. And probably that Shuddha Sattva stage, the cleansing itself will remove layers and layers of ignorance. And of course, this is a never-ending journey, Prabhuji, to reach that. So we need to, that is what is, we are in that, as we are shedding out the layers of ignorance, we are, becoming, our consciousness is being elevated. So we are more always in some dream state because it's a bewilderment phase only.
True.
No,
But we should
Prabhuji?
not be discouraged. Yeah, you're right, Mataji, but we should not be discouraged.
No, not discouraged. We have to be, move in the same direction.
Correct.
Because
We already moved.
we have to
Because we are now
continue.
in the human form. Right? We are in the human form. That means we
Yes.
already moved from the previous janmas. So
Yes.
we are in this right path now. That means what we are doing is perfect. Just continue.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Very nice, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna, don't be Dr. Frog in the well.
Yes.
Dr. Frog,
Correct.
it's a good one.
Only estimating. Oh, it will be like this, like this, like this. Only this much, only this much. It's so huge. Spiritual world is 3/4. Ours is only 1/4. We think that it is the universe is the biggest. Our universe. No.
Always
That's
judgment.
far beyond.
We always have a judgment. Like
Yes,
this.
we judge according to our experience, limited experience. That's correct. Very nice point.
Living within always living within the boundary, not thinking that.
Yeah, we are in the comfort zone. We don't want to get out of it. That's the problem. So only churning, chanting, recitation, this will take us out of this comfort zone. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Churning example is very good, Prabhuji. The churning examples are good, Prabhuji.
Yes, correct. You churn by chanting, and this is what churning we are doing. So then we can get the butter from the milk, right? Fire from the wood. So by that we are getting that. So why not? By chanting, Krishna is right in front of you. So intelligence has to be churned, mind has to be churned. Otherwise, just chanting itself will not do. We have to read, write. What is that 4 points? Anybody remembers? How to read, contemplate, write, and speak to others. 4 points. Remember this. Thank you very much, Balaji. I think we are host of the
Prabhuji,
time.
here, listen.
Of course, listen, of course, yes.
When I
Listen,
said read, yeah, first is listen.
Okay. Yeah, hearing, correct.
Hearing.
Hearing, that also includes then reading also, right? When you hear,
Yes,
then you read
Prabhuji,
that same
read,
thing, write
recite,
it down.
yes. Write it
Yes.
down and then preach.
Very
Thank
nice.
you,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Vancha kalpataru vichkripa sindhu vaya vichapatitanam pavanam.